Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on the time you are watching this video. In today's video, we want to explain about the new features and also how you'll be able to go about using the new features we have actually added to our school management system. So one of the feature is using the Excel sheet to actually export the result table and fill in the details offline. After filling the details offline, then you will now upload it back to the server using the import functionality of the Excel to enable you manage your result system offline. Another feature is also for the assignment, whereby you'll be able to assign an assignment to student online. And this assignment will be done by the student based on the days you have actually fixed for the assignment. And the assignment also have the functionality of you marking the assignment even the day the assignment has expired or even before that day. So you have the functionality of marking the assignment as a teacher or maybe as an admin, because it's also extended to the teacher's end. And this functionality of the assignment is only for the complete school management system or the CBT that we tend to add for any school that actually want that functionality in its own system. Let me quickly take you through the overview of the Excel sheet on how you'll be able to manage your results using the Excel sheet. After clicking on the mark, then I'll click on add a mark. Then I'll select the class. I'll select the exam. Maybe I want to use this time exam, first time exam 2024-2025. Then I want to select the section and also select the subject. Currently, I have two subjects added here for testing. One is English Studies and the other one is Mathematics. So if I select the English Studies and I click on the mark button there, it's going to fetch all these mark details for me for the student. Now, if you check this table, you will find out that this student have no any mark added to them. They do not have any mark that is actually assigned to them based on the CA and also based on the exam. This is actually a testing that we are testing. This is not on our live server, but it's also working on a live server. We have actually integrated most of this to the schools that are using the software. So the only school that is not having this integration is the school that are yet to actually print their results. They are yet to actually print their results. So that is the only school having this delay. But most of the school, we have actually integrated this because it's actually going to affect the previous result that has been uploaded. So we already informed schools to print all the uploaded results before 30th of January. So any school that have complied to that, we have automatically added this. And some schools that did not do that, we also added this, and the moment we do that, it actually affected most of their results assessing, because like I said, this new feature is going to affect the result upload that has already been uploaded before if they did not have that. Now, explaining this, you'll find out that before we normally have these options to actually submit the CAs and also the exam. So the moment I input any of this score and I click on this add mark, the first time it's actually going to generate all the CAs and also the exam. Then if I also come back and check and also click on the add mark for the second time by updating the table, that is when it automatically generates the position of the student based on their respective classes. But with the Excel sheet now, the moment you import the scores, it automatically generates the CA scores and also the positions, everything without actually updating the table for the second time, just by importing the Excel sheet. So to actually use this Excel sheet, currently, anytime you want to export the table to upload the result for the first time, for the specific subject and class, you have to click on this export to CSV button. So this export to CSV button will export all the respective students in that class based on the subject they are offering and also based on their section. So the moment it exports the table using an Excel sheet, that is the CSV Excel format, then you will have to input the scores for the student that you want their result to show. Any student you don't want that specific subject to show for their specific subject, then you automatically allow the feed to be zero the way it is. But if you want the score to show for all the students based on the subject they are offering, you have to input both the CA, the exams, to enable the student have that subject appear on his or her report card. So now I want to export this. So after clicking on the export button, if you can see, I have English studies already exported, right? I have English studies already exported. So I'll click on this button and open when done. Open when done. So I'm waiting for it to finish. I think I'm having network issue. So the moment it finished downloading, it automatically opened the Excel sheet for me to enable me have access to that so that I can be able to input all the necessary scores for the students. So open. So it's opening. So this is the Excel sheet. It has automatically been exported, and if you check this top here, you will find out that we have the English study, we have the first time 2024-2025, and the class is SS1, the section is science class, and the year is 2025. And checking on this, you will have all the students with their respective registration number and also their username. So I can expand this for me to be able to see the name of the student. I can also expand this for me to be able to see the username of the student. If I like, I can also decide to expand this for me to get the registration number of the student. Now, after that, I'm going to input each of the students' CA score. Let's say this student have 5, first CA, second 5, third CA 5, exam, let's say 55. The second student has 6, the score is 6, the third CA is 6, and also the exam is 56. The third student 7 for the first CA, second CA I have 7, third CA I have 7, the exam I have 57. Now the fourth student, the first CA I have 8, second CA I have 8, third CA I have 8, and the exam I have 58. Now after inputting all of this, what I'm expected to do is to just press Ctrl S to actually save, and I will have this option. So I'll just click on yes. I've automatically saved this document just by clicking on Ctrl S, and it will ask you either yes or no you want to modify the document. I will say yes. Or if you don't want to use the Ctrl X, you can just come to this top here and click on this. So based on the Excel sheet that you're actually working with, you will just click on the save. So just by clicking on the save, you have option to select and say yes. So after finishing that, if you like, you can decide to close this document. If you like, you can decide to allow it open, because it's not going to affect anything you are working with under the upload of the results. So going back to the site, so I'll be able to use this CSV file option here to actually choose the file and upload the file. So I'll click on this choose a file. After clicking on the choose a file, So it will open my download option based on actually the location that you have, the last position you actually open a folder anytime you are working online. So from my own end, I have this, and you can see this is English study. You can see the time, first time 2024, 2025, what class SS1, what section is science class, and what year is 2025. And the beauty part of this, you don't need to be duplicating the Excel sheet based on the subject and also the classes of the student. This functionality will allow you to actually export all the necessary details you needed to work with. All the necessary details. You don't need to be duplicating the Excel sheet like some of the school management system actually uses. So with this, it will only download that specific one. Anytime you want to use the other one, you also download it for that specific subject. And you will not be able to upload any score or any exam or any subject that is not specifically for that class on this import to actually open this. So after that, I've already choose the file and added the file to my environment here. That is the add mark page. So after adding the file, what I'll just do now is to click on this import score sheet. So see, results have been successfully uploaded and processed. So the page is going to refresh. So if I go back to the table and I select my class and I also select the exam, I also select the section, and I also select the subject, that is English. And if I click on the mark, you can see it's going to fetch all the scores. First student having 555 55, 666 56, 777 57, and also 888 58. So automatically the result for this subject has automatically been generated with the position. The result has automatically been generated with the position just by importing this. So if I go to the student page, let me click on the student. If I go to the student page, select SS1. After selecting SS1, let's take this first student, that is the student 1, and I'll view it in the next page. Let me right click and open in a new tab. So after opening this, just the student details, you'll get some of this information. This is actually a test demo I'm working with my own details and credentials. So this is a test demo that we're working with from our local server. So you can see you already have this exam. You have one available terminal report for student 001, right? That is the username of the student. So the exam is first time 2024 2025. What year is what? 2025. So by just clicking on this view terminal report, it will automatically show the report card of the student. Can you see? It's automatically generating the report card of the student for that specific subject we uploaded. How simple it is, right? This is actually designed in this way to ease the activity of the teachers in order to ensure that results are uploaded in time and without delay, and also getting the best result. Now, if you look at this, you can see English studies. This student has 888. We have the CA total to be 24. The exam total out of 70 is 58. And the total score combining the CA and the exam, we have 82. The average score in class, we have 82. That is the average score in class. The average score in class, because it's just one subject. Now, the highest score in class is 82. And the lowest score in class, we have 70. The lowest score in class we have 70. So based on the total, the lowest score in class we have 70. So if we decide to go and check our table now, you'll find out that if you look at the sum of the student that has the 70, it will be from the combination of the CA and also the exam to give us the lowest score in class, which is what? Which is 70. So the highest score is 82 and also the average score is 82, because it's just one result I actually uploaded, which is the English study. And the percentage score by this student is 82%. 82%. And position in class, the student is what? Is first position in class. And you can see the class is SS1. Total number of the student we have is what? Is 4. So let's go back again and test. Let's go back again. Let me go back to the mark page. Going back to the mark page. So I want to click on add a mark. So after clicking on add a mark, I will select SS1. I will select the first time, and I'll also select the section and also the subject. So now after this, if you check after clicking on the mark, you will see we have 55, 60, 65, 70, right? This is 55. Adding 5 is what? 60. If I add another 5 is 65. If I have another 5 is what? 70. So the lowest score in class is what? Is 70. Going back to the terminal report, you can see lowest score is given us what? Is given us what? 70. That is the lowest score in class. The lowest score in class. Now, if I go back to this now and I decide to change the score, because the CA is expected to take maximum of 10, each of the CA, first CA maximum of 10, second CA maximum of 10, and third CA maximum of 10. And the beauty part of this Excel sheet when working with it is that anytime you want to upload a score which is above the required score, it will actually tell you the specific student and also tell you the role on the Excel sheet that you are expected to correct. Now, for this student 1, we have 888. If I decide to go back to my Excel sheet and I said, okay, instead of having 8 here, I have 11. That is for the third CA. I have 11 for the third CA, and I decide to click and save. The Control S and I save. Right after doing Control S and I save, then I will go back to the Excel sheet and maybe try to import this. So you can have a situation whereby you have a score that you set more than the required field that is expected for either the CA or the exam, and the system will automatically send a warning for you telling you that the score is not valid for that field based on the input you have actually inserted. So if I input it, you can see third CA score for student 1 is invalid. Maximum is 10. Beautiful, beautiful, right? So it's telling us that the third CA score for the student 1 I actually try to import in the Excel sheet is what? Is invalid. And the maximum score I'm expected to insert is what? Is 10. So if you look at this Excel sheet here, I have a score of 11. So the system will not even try to upload by even processing it, right? So it will only take the ones that it's required, right, based on the subject and also the score. So it's now telling me that what? This student score for the third CA is wrong because I needed to set the maximum to be 10. So if I want to set a maximum to be 10, right, and I decide to also save, and maybe I want to set the exam, let's say exam instead of 70, I want to set the exam to be let's say 72. Let's say I want to set the exam to be 72, and that is for the third student, that is student, the fourth student, student 1, and also for student 2, I also want to set the exam to be 80, and also for student 1, I want to set the exam, or maybe I want to set the CA to be uh 80. I want to set the CA to be 80 instead of 8. So I will just save this. After clicking on the save, now I'll try to go and import, right? So I've corrected this to be 10, right? So now I'll try to go and import, but I'll have to refresh the page, right? You have to refresh the page. So select the class, select the time, select the exam, and also the subject. So after selecting that, now I'll have to bring the Excel sheet to also try to upload. So I will definitely get the first warning for the first student where I actually set this 5 to be 80. So the moment I import this, I choose the file and I want to import this sheet. You can see second student score for Beckharden is also going to tell you the student name, right? Is also going to tell you the role in terms of the CA, whether it's first CA, second CA, or third CA, and it will tell you telling you that okay, this is invalid score, so you are expected to correct it. So if I go to the second CA score for this student, that is the Beckharden, I decide to locate this student, right? That is for the first student here. Now second CA, so let me make it to be 8. instead of 10. Let me make it to be 8. And also, if I decide to import, so anytime I'm trying to do this, based on the score, it will always give me that warning, right? It will always give me that warning telling me that so student score is not valid. It's not valid. You can see exam score for this student, that is Ignatius Pocket, is what is invalid, right? This exam score for this student is what is invalid. The maximum should be 70. So if I go and check now, you can see I actually set what 80. So I'll have to change this to, let's say, 66 or maybe 67. Now I also have the third student. I want to change this to 67. I also have the student 01, that is the fourth student on the table. If I click on this and I try to also import the student details for the subject again, after clicking on this and I click on the import, you can see exam score for student 1 is invalid. Maximum is 70 because I have what? I have 72. So for me to ensure that I have this, I need to set this to be 70. Else I'm going to get that warning. I need to set this to be 70. So after setting it to be 70, so I'll automatically what import it now, and it should work for us. So we have some scores that are 70, some are 10, while some scores are actually 8. So after selecting the file, I'll import. Now you can see results have been successfully uploaded and processed, right? So it has been uploaded and processed. If I decide to go and check the score for the exam, and the moment I click and I select all the necessary details, you can see this I now have 8, I have 67 for this, I have 70, and I have 10. So if we also go back to the terminal report card and I decide to refresh, so you can see automatically we have 8, 8, 10, right? And the exam is what is 70. So total score now is what 96. And you can now see the lowest in class is what is 73, right? Because we have added the 575. So it's not actually 55 again, 585. Yeah, 585. So with addition of 3. So and this is still the individual that have the lowest in the class. So that is why we are having the lowest in class to be 73, and this still retain the first position. And you can also decide to show this position. You can also decide to hide the position, which you can also find in the previous videos we have already made as regards to that for the super admin and also the admin. Also again, if I decide to select a subject that is not the one I exported for the Excel sheet, let's say I select XS1 based on the exam and also the class, and I decide to select the subject to be math. So the moment I decide to import this, so you can see math does not have any score, right? No score for math. So if I decide to choose the file and also import this English with the subject, the class, the section, and the year for the respective student. This is actually math. So, and I'm taking a different subject to actually upload. And if I try to import this score, you can see data does not match the selected class. It does not match the selected section. It does not match the selected subject, and it also does not match the selected exam. So the class, the section, the subject, and exam must match before all this information will be uploaded. So if the subject is separate, the class is separate based on what you actually want to upload with the one you have on your Excel sheet, it will not work. So you must have a proper detail to actually upload in your own table for the result to be generated. If you are finding this error, then you should note that you are selecting the wrong details to actually upload. The last aspect I actually want to explain now is adding the score manually. So I'll click on mark to actually fetch the mark. Sorry, I say manually, adding the score online. So in this case now, I'm adding the scores online. Like I said, the first one is to get the result details or the necessary subject using this button. The second option, after you first click on the add, you add that. The second option is for you to be able to get the position. That is, if you don't have any position already. So for you to get the position based on using this online form that you're actually submitting, you have to do that 2 times to actually update the table. Now the first one, let's say the student have 9 and 8, 7 and 67, and this student has 8, 5, 6 and 68. And this student has 6, 5, 8 and 69. Why this student has 7, 8, 7 and 56. So after inputting all this, or let's make this to be 16. After inputting all this, the first one I added, you can see after clicking on this, you are going to get the student score were updated successfully too, because I already have a first result that is there. So based on that, it will update these automatically because I already have position, I already have scores. So if we go and check this now, you find out that all these details has already been inserted for math. So in this case, I am using the online method to actually fill the score. So if I go back to the student result page and I refresh this result, you will see that math automatically added to the result table. You can see math. So in this case, I have math to be 787, right? The exam is 16. The total score I have for math after joining this is 78. The average score is what? Is 41, right? For my math average score. The highest score in class is 91. So the individual with 91, you can see this individual actually score 82. So the total score of this student is 82. So he's not the highest in class based on this subject. Now the lowest in class is 82. That means is this student that actually has the lowest in class, right? So he's having 82. So based on that, you'll be able to know the position based on the total score of the individual, the average score, also the highest in class, and also the lowest in class. So that is one of the functionality that was actually added to the result management system using the Excel sheet. And the last option we have here is actually to delete the specific subject with all the entire position generated with all the entire position generated. So the moment I click on this, it's actually going to delete this subject, that is math, with all the position. So it's going to affect all the entire position. Selected result and class position score deleted successfully. So in this case, all position are not going to be visible anymore. All the position are not going to be visible. If I go back and check this, after checking the math, you will find out that we don't have any score for math, right? So everything is deleted, right? So now let me refresh and select the second subject, which is English. Selecting the second subject, which is English. So we will still have the score of English, right? But the position will not be there anymore, right? The position will not be there anymore. So if I go back to this page and I refresh this, you can see our position is not there anymore because we actually try to clear everything with the position so that we should have a proper method of looking at the position based on the score. If you want this position to actually reflect now, what you're expected to do after doing that, you have to go to each of the subjects by adding this mark manually. So I will just click on this. I'll just add it like this, just using the online method to add to add it. So you can see student score added successfully exam. So the moment I go back and I decide to check again for the second time, I was still going to get all the details because I did not delete the subject, that English specifically. So the moment I add the second time, you can see exam detail updated successfully and student score were updated successfully. So the moment I do that, after that's the second time, so I'm expecting my position to actually show. As you can see, we have the position to be visible. But to achieve this easy and quick, you will just use the Excel sheet and everything will be generated to you